I've tested several Oppo devices over the years, including their flagship, the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, and of course the Oppo Find X8 Pro, and while there was a lot to like, I always saw them as devices packed with potential, but never fully realized. The camera results in auto mode, they often looked too processed, too polished, almost like the soul of the shot was filtered away. Then switch to master mode, and suddenly you're looking at something completely different, a whole other style. There was this strange gap, one that left me wondering what the camera really wanted to be. But now we have this, the best they've got to offer, the Oppo Find X8 Ultra. And the question is, have they improved and addressed some of the issues that I've had with Oppo in the past? To not spoil too much, I would say it seems like it. Either way, let's discuss the Oppo Find X8 Ultra and my first initial impressions of the camera. One thing that consistently stood out for me as a weak point for Oppo is macro photography. Now, I've since learned that macro mode isn't actually the best way to shoot close-up shots on Oppo devices, which for me feels a bit backwards. But recently, I finally had the chance to test it properly with real subjects, flowers with vivid colors and all kinds of details that demand, of course, that really close-up look. Now, what I've been using for all these shots is that macro mode on the top itself, not the auto macro mode. The auto macro mode by default uses the ultra wide lens. If you then crop in, of course you're gonna lose a lot of quality that I've experienced as well. When it comes to the macro mode that you select on the top with the flower itself, it by default switches to that 70mm telephoto lens. Everything changes because of this. I was able to get significantly closer and because of it have tighter framing. I could even crop in without losing too much of that clarity and quality. The result is that the macro experience is actually really satisfying to use. But in turn, I will be honest that in some cases it feels like there's a slight artificial look to the shot itself. But it's most likely because this is only supported in auto mode. And there is also a limit. Once you push it past that 300mm, the image quality drops a lot. Go beyond that 300mm, you're basically giving up detail for the distance itself, and it's not worth that trade-off. That said, I've noticed something else as well that is very encouraging. Auto mode has gotten a lot better. Shots feel more natural, less overly processed compared to what I saw on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra or of course the early days on the X8 Pro. Again, I did have them for a limited time, but that was my experience with it. It is definitely more balanced now with auto mode. But even so, my go-to is still master mode. It not only gives me the controls that I want, but also more importantly, it gets that Hasselblad kind of experience on the phone. And while we're here, let's talk about the color contrast. It's much richer, deeper, more dimensional. Now sure, weather conditions can play a role here, so maybe it's not a perfect comparison to what I've experienced on the X7 Ultra or the X8 Pro, but the color contrast seems a lot better on the X8 Ultra. It has more depth, it has more soul, and honestly, I'm starting to fall in love with some of the shots that I've taken on the Oppo Find X8 Ultra. Now of course, this is just the beginning. I've got more testing planned ahead, with of course that trip to Germany as well that is coming up. together with my Vivo X200 Ultra, and that allows me to experience a whole range of new scenes to explore, different lighting, different stories, and hopefully also a little bit more of portraits, not just this lonely test shots of a very average looking guy, aka also known as me. So with this kind of video, it's always the initial impressions, not a full review of it. There aren't many situations that I've tested it at yet, so I cannot properly judge it just yet. These are initial impressions because of it, and I really want to make that clear. That being said, so far my impressions are that there is a shift in how they approach it, especially with autophotography. With autophotography on the X8 Pro, for instance, we had a lot of artificial looks to it, and I really didn't like it. It was a very different device compared to what you would get on the master mode. With the X8 Ultra, so far it seems to be a lot better, and what I really like about Oppo as well now is that the color contrast is excellent. This allows subjects to really stand out. Color contrast is one of the strengths, for instance, with Xiaomi that really makes a shot stand out. With Oppo, I feel like it was almost there but not fully there yet, and I feel like right now they've made a step in the right direction to do so, because that color contrast really makes a shot look way less flat than some others. And then of course when it comes to macro, I do feel like it's a lot better than what we got on the previous generation and the X8 Pro, but I will say it has a little bit of that artificial effect to it, so there's something going on to enhance the shot itself. It looks fine though, I don't feel like it looks way off on what a natural shot's supposed to look like, but there is a little bit of an effect going on in the shot itself. Either way, my initial impressions of the Oppo Find X8 Ultra is that this can be a really excellent device, but I do need to test it out more to give a proper judgment for you so you can see what this is actually capable of. Right now I will say that I haven't tested the Oppo Find X8 Ultra in enough different situations where I can properly tell you how the camera performs just yet. But stay tuned, I'm planning some really cool videos with the Oppo Find X8 Ultra, but also of course with the Vivo X200 Ultra. It's not here just yet, but it's coming at some point. Anyway, before we leave, I really want to thank my members. Thank you so much for the support. It really means a lot for a channel size like mine, so thank you so much. Of course, for you guys, there will be some files uploaded so you can check them out in full resolution. They are JPEGs though, not WAV files just yet. Naturally, if you want to become a member, you can click join somewhere below. And of course, if you aren't subscribed yet, don't forget to subscribe. It really helps out a channel like mine, because I need to be clever with my budget, and this was somewhat funded by Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you guys for donating on that. It really helps out with a phone like this. Anyway, I do hope that you enjoyed my initial impressions on the Oppo Find X8 Ultra, and let me know what you think about it so far. Anyway, have a good one, and talk to you guys in the next.